Welcome to Engineering Influence, podcast from the American Council of Engineering Companies, coming to you from our 2025 Fall Conference. And really the big focus of this year's event is the intersection of people and technology. And you don't have people without a strong workforce. And one thing that we know across the sectors of engineering is that we need to really pump the pipeline when it comes to engineering graduates coming into the industry, staying, attracting them early, and keeping them interested throughout their academic journey and then into their professional careers. How do you do that? You got to show the essential value of what engineers do every day to improve society. And one of the great ways of doing that is to show them. And I'm joined by two people who have done a fantastic job of showing exactly what the essential value is. And that is Jeannie McClure. She is with ACEC Nebraska. Eric Obert with JEO, also on the Workforce Committee. You both have done a fantastic job of producing a whole series of videos, really hitting kids from elementary school into high school, getting them interested. Let's talk about that. Tell us a little bit, start off, how did the idea come? How did it develop and execute? I can start off with
Go ahead.
Look, I think a lot of this, for me personally, it was the engineering is kind of this lost profession. It's something that has just been lost in recent. You know, when I grew up, I remember, the respected industries being talked about, doctors, and lawyers, and engineers. It was included in the trilogy, at least what I remember hearing. That by and large has been lost. And I think it gets lost in regards to what we do as the infrastructure background, the backbone of the country and everything to do. So really then it is, okay, how do we get people connected to what we do? So when we start talking about the video and how do we get awareness out there, obviously one of the things you got to do is you got to touch emotionally with people. You could tell people what to do or, this is a great thing to do, but how do we touch them emotionally? And in our mind is how do we show that video of what we interact on a daily basis, that engineers impact, right? Yeah. You wake up, the alarm clock goes off, engineer. You turn your water on, it's safe drinking water, engineer. You drive the roads, engineer. It's like, how do we make that connection and how they want to help community? And even as, how do you want to help society? So that's really their intent behind our video is how do we make that connection on an emotional at different age levels? Yeah. Right. Because everybody has a different input, a different learning style or what they want to see. So yeah, that was kind of the impetus of this.
Yeah. And Sheena, how do you deal with that? I mean, you have a lot of members, diverse interests.
Sure. So when we chose what we were going to represent the built environment, what ACEC is, right? And so how we decided what that was is we went to the Engineering Excellence Awards categories and we said, we want to represent everything on this list. And that's how we're going to pick. Yeah. And then we went to our firms and we said, let's see your examples. Show us the video that you have. And then we went out and shot video various places on a couple of projects. And that's how we came up with that. And the importance is showing how engineering can be invisible and is invisible when it's done well, right? Because you're not worried about it because if it's not affecting you because things are good. When things go wrong, that's when we're worried about it. And so it's hard to say because engineering isn't construction. It's the plan. It's the thing before that. It's everything underneath.
We are the people who set the stage for everything to come.
Right.
All the visible stuff that comes out of these projects happens because the good work that happened at the beginning by engineers isn't seen. And you're right. We're in this catch-22 situation where everything that we do works properly and never know what happens. Like the mayor said this morning, you turn on the tap, the water flows, you flip the switch, your lights turn on. You don't have any trouble getting to work. It becomes noticeable when the lights don't come on, when there is an accident or a failure, and you never see the good stuff. And it's hard to put that into perspective, especially for kids, because it's just a given in their world, right?
Right.
I think another layer of that is as an industry, the engineering industry, I think we're very humble.
Yes.
So we dare go out there and not we should be screaming and yelling at what we're doing, but we do need to be proud. Yeah. We can be proud amongst ourselves, hence this conference, and also at the national awards, but we need to be more proud of what we do and what we do are supporting the industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Society in general.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think using EEA as the kind of idea generator is a great idea. And every program out there in the country is a wealth of potential story ideas that organizations can use to really focus in on communicating that essentiality message, right? How did you use EEA? Did you and sort those projects?
So it's just literally using those categories to say, okay, transportation is represented. Check. All of those, water, wastewater. How do we decide what we're going to show in this video? What is the built environment? And then we were very lucky to meet with an amazing production company and sit down and have a conversation with them and say, this is what my hope and dream is for this video. And they came back with the script. And they said, this is what we're thinking. And then we tweaked on the script. But we really also wanted to talk about, we know math and science are important for engineering, but really the heart of engineering is problem solving and building a better community, designing a better world, solving those problems. And so we didn't do a deep focus on math and science. We talk a lot about changing your world, building a better world, designing a better world.
One layer I would add to that too is we also include the school systems. We're good at engineers, we're good at business, but what we're not teachers. Right. So what words resonate with this certain in the age group? How do we make that connection? So we recognize that we're not those experts in that, and we layered that in when these videos came out.
I would say there's for anybody out there saying, well, I don't know if I did a video it would be used. I would have to say anecdotally, my brother teaches what used to be, woodshop now is STEM. Schools across the country are
technical education.
Exactly. And they're trying to expand their offerings, and they've realized that they don't have a lot of resources. And these kind of resources, there is a demand, and we need to fill it.
And so how we even started this journey towards making the videos, we knew we wanted to do something like this, but we did about a year of fact-finding and meeting with a lot of different groups, meeting with our university, meeting with the different programs there. Eric's on the advisory council at the University of Nebraska. We talked with the public school systems, several levels of folks at public schools to talk about what do you need? How can we help? Because in Nebraska, we're very passionate about workforce and solving problems, but we also don't want to replicate or take over something else that someone is doing well. We're in the phase of amplifying other people's messages, but then filling the gap. Where is it missing? And we felt like these videos do exactly that. They're filling a gap that's missing.
Eric, the work on the workforce committee, how do you think ACEC should position itself to be that bridge between the engineering industry and the educators and trying to figure out exactly what needs to happen?
And I like Jeannie's word of talking about amplify. We have a lot of connections out there. Who do we get to make a connection with guidance counselor, right? How do we get into the guidance counselor arena where they have an easy button for areas on what's going on, tools at their fingertips? One of the things we talked about quite a bit is a lot of people get asked to talk about what they do in engineering. I know my kids asked me to come to class. There's kind of a heavy lift to put some stuff together and make sure what to talk about. We want to make this an easy button, and video is a great way to talk about it. And so I think ACEC just making those connections, even on the state or a national level, is how do we get into these groups that are influencing these kids? The mentoring program that we do, we get a lot of feedback of how did you come to be an engineer or look at it? My family member, or maybe I had a math teacher or science teacher or somebody that knows that. But we get a little bit in the mode of how do we teach the teachers, what the industry is, but give them the tools as well. So a mass production of access to this tool and all the other tools that are happening, I think is a big way.
I think you ask any teacher and they're going to tell you if they are overworked, over-leveraged. And if we could provide a resource that makes their life easy,
absolutely,
and is pretty much purpose-built, they're going to use it.
So we see this video, it can be used by a teacher to show when they're talking about it, but we also think it's a perfect way. So you get invited to a classroom to come and speak. You play this video, it's your kickoff. It gets the conversation started. It starts with a lot of high energy. But then we've also developed some presentations that can be downloaded and then modified because the hardest thing is you get invited to come speak and then you have to create a presentation or figuring out what you're talking about. So we've created a spine of a PowerPoint presentation that people can take apart, put together, add to, delete from, to talk to a class.
One of the things we did not plan on, but I've heard several people talk about this, is a thank you to me because they go, I can now tell my parents what I do. Yeah. And seriously, I was just like, I did not expect that, but this individual
It makes sense.
He was having a hard time explaining what he was going to do in the engineering world. And these videos were able to give him an avenue to do that. I was like, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Having those resources that extend the video, right? E-Week happens once a year. It should be 365, right? We focus on that week to go out to schools, have events, but any engineering firm out there that has a CSR component or a community engagement component or something should really think about what can we do to local schools in our area. Because the one thing we always talk about also is that the people who are designing the bridges in your community are from that community. They live there. They're going to use that bridge, right? I always ask questions of engineers, how does it feel to design a building, a bridge, something that is going to have 100-year lifespan, to know that your grandkids and their kids are going to be able to see something and say, my father, my grandfather, he helped design that thing. And when I ask that question, sometimes the reaction is surprising because they never actually stop and think about that. Because like you said, Eric, they are humble. Engineers are largely humble. They do the work. They're so focused on it. And letting them talk about that impact that they have and giving them the ability to do that, I think can change a lot of people's minds and spark a lot of ideas in kids to say, I want to do that.
Go ahead.
Think about the impact that you have. Building that bridge, you're affecting thousands and thousands and millions of lives. Safe water systems.
Yep.
It's so important, right? And so for engineers to realize that, I am not an engineer, but I call myself an engineering evangelist, to talk to people and tell them the importance of engineering in their communities, and then talk to classrooms and tell them about, what you can do and how you can affect change in your community. And I think, that's what makes things better.
Yeah.
We talk about, enrollment. You mentioned it earlier, talking about enrollment in universities, people going into engineering. One of the things I think this video does, and one of the things we need to focus on, is the STEM ecosystem is great, right? I think it's a great promotion, getting kids involved on that. But I think there's also another group out there that get scared or have a perception that they're not as STEM. We need them too.
Yeah.
Right. We need these individuals that are really put their head down, really work hard on that. But then we need to support them with the community around them to say, yes, this is going to be worth it at the end. How do we want to do that? So it's like, how do we get to all these different groups out here? Yeah. What we're trying to do.
Everything that we're doing at National seems to be nothing separate, nothing siloed. It all builds in together, right? You look at the Firm of the Future from the Institute, Firm 2035, what's going to look like. It's not going to be a lot. Yeah, so you always going to have your licensed engineers who are signing documents. Yep. You're also going to have a lot of people who are drone operators.
Yep.
Right.
People who are dealing with data, computers. Those people need to be included.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it is a spectrum of jobs available in the engineering industry within consulting engineering firms. And we're out there to want to inspire all of those folks, whether they become a PE or they're a designer or they are a surveyor or they are admin. We have so many people that work in marketing in our firms and HR, but to know that they all come together and they're creating these amazing projects and they're delivering for their communities.
So the videos are produced. They're up online. We have them as part of our larger playbook that we are launching at this conference that Molly Tuttle on our team is working with the workforce committee. How are you going to get them out? How do you want, these to be distributed? And what are you doing on the promotion side?
So we have sent them out to all of my counterparts at NACEC. They are available. Anyone can, there's a link that National will have through the workforce committee, and you can post it however you like. To download them, you definitely want to download them. That's a lot of, and not just pull them off of YouTube. It'll be easier if you download them. Send them out there. Share them via social media. Send them to your schools. Send them to your elected officials and say, here's a tool for your schools to use. I think we can't have them played enough, but, we really want to get that out there as much as possible.
Yeah, look, in Nebraska ACEC, it took the initiative to do this because there was so much passion behind that. It wasn't free. We spent the money on that. But man, we want to share it.
Yeah.
Give people the access to it, show people, utilize it. We're proud of the video, but we're also proud for the industry on that side.
We're going to do everything we can to get them out there. Encourage everybody to download them, use them, spread them out. We'll put the links in the show notes for them, and it's going to be fantastic. So we'll make sure to evangelize ourselves.
Yes, there we go.
Absolutely. Eric, Janine, thank you. Jeannie, sorry. It's
okay.
Early morning already.
I know.
But thank you very much for joining us on the program. We'll get those videos out, and I really appreciate your work in helping getting the message out.
All right.
For the days. And again, this has been Engineering Influence podcast from the American Council of Engineering Companies. We'll see you next time.